Okay, so it's Monday morning, it's about 8:30. I'm here in Switzerland with my friends the cows, heading to a lake just to cool off really, because it's roasting already. And I've had quite a few people ask me to comment about the twig, and I mean really for me it's just another thing that predominantly is going to appeal to the main sort of anglers who kind of struggle a bit to catch on conventional rigs anyway. So it'll be plighted by day ticket anglers who, you know, they want something new, they want the edge to thinking it's going to change their fishing. And like with most of these things, I mean, I'm not really bothered about the product itself. I don't really agree with sort of self-hooking devices at all. Plus it's big, not too aerodynamic, and to me it's just in the wrong hands. It's like any rig or anything. If it's used correctly as intended, then 9 times out of 10 it'll be fine by competent anglers. But as we all know, and me personally, when we go in water every day in the winter, we find everything. So anything that's likely to get lost by an angler, we'll find it. And unfortunately, quite often these items are tethered to fish, which is why people rightly ban them, because like I say, people just don't understand the correct usage of an item and they don't apply it properly. They use it when they don't need to, but because it's been touted as an all singing, all dancing, you'll never miss a fish rig, it will sell loads, and I'm guessing it will sell predominantly. I know there'll be experienced anglers using it, blah blah blah, but there'll be a hell of a lot of people using it who don't really know what they're doing, and they'll just chuck it on. And it's not so much the thing itself; it's when noise, isn't it? Cowbells. It's when the line snaps above it, and because it's probably got a bit of twist in it, this, that, and the other. We're going to find. I know we're going to find loads of them this winter straight away. The thing we normally find most of is safe zone leaders with lead still attached, and swivels on the end of the safe zone leader, which is why people ban them. I mean, I've never been a great fan of lead core even, and for me a safe rig, I mean you can't beat, we're talking carp fishing, a safe rig for me is a helicopter rig, simply because the swivel, your hook link is running on the line, even on lead core, but you know, if it's on the line, which nowadays line's so tough and decent, I don't really think you can beat fishing a helicopter rig on, you know, because if the line snaps above anywhere really, then you haven't tied a swivel where you shouldn't, or put, you know, tied stupid stuff. If it's just free running, and like they're not you know, the systems now, like the Corda one with the safety bead and all that, I think they're great, because worst case scenario, what's going to happen? Okay, you lose a fish, the line snaps, you crack off or whatever, all that the fish is left with is a rig, and I always use really short rigs anyway. And yeah, the debate about, you know, dropping leads, etc., but you know, water's got metal in it anyway. It's 9 times out of 10, I think you're asking a lot for pollution to be put down to lead going in the water. 99, I guess, percent, or I wouldn't know, I'm guessing, but a huge volume of the leads that go into lakes are coated. So, you know, there's a lot worse stuff going in your water, in my opinion, than leads. But regarding the twig, if you imagine when those arms are sticking out, and I know they bend, etc., but it's just something else to collect sticks and weeds. So your rig is attached to that, a bit like it is a lead clip. So on a lead clip, all right, if the line snaps and you've set it up properly, technically the fish is only trailing the rig and the lead clip. But this time it will be trailing the rig and this twig. So the fish is going to swim around. They inevitably go into snags or weed to try and shake it off, and all they do is sit. You can watch them, we've seen them endless times. They just sit and shake their heads, and that's going to cause damage. And we're going to find them. We're going to find a lot of these things in snags and weed. I know we are, because we find every single conceivable rig that's been set up and tied in correctly. I don't doubt if you know, if you set it up properly and you chuck it in a lake and doing everything properly, yes, it might give you some more connected bites, but I don't see the problem with just a hook and a lead. You know what I mean? It's rig mechanics. We can all bang on about various rigs. Oh, I've caught loads on this, but at the end of the day, you know, it's not rocket science. It really isn't. It's good marketing. It's great, the whole tackle industry, and I'm just a sucker for it as everyone else. But I try and keep everything dead simple. And you're still not going to catch fish if they're not there. You're still not going to catch fish if you're in the wrong place. You're still not going to catch fish if you've set it all up wrong. You know, it's so for me, it's I can totally get why everyone's banning it, or most people are banning it, and it will be, oh, what's that? It's like it's not a fox. It's something. I don't know what it is. Awesome. But yeah, it's one of those things really. If I had a fishery, yeah, I wouldn't let people use it, but I wouldn't let people use lead core or a number of things really. But yeah, and it is. I don't care what your opinion of it is. You've got to respect the fishery owner's decision because it's their fishery, you know, and it's up to them. People tend to think they know best and they can do what they like, which is fine if you want that attitude. Buy your own lake, rent your own lake, lease your own lake, etc., and then do what you like. And unfortunately, you'll come to the same conclusion if you do it for as long as I have. You'll see what happens when you just. Everyone says, "Oh, you don't need any rules." Some lakes don't have any rules. Do we find more rigs in those lakes than we do with strict rules? Sometimes, but it depends who's fishing. If it's a day ticket, so basically, if it's an all, you know, access, open all areas, let anyone fish it, yeah, you're going to find loads more line. You find rigs in swims, you find just crap. It comes down a lot of it to the angler and how they use it. And also, then once you've got the contraption in the landing net, then obviously there's more issues there with it snagging up. And I still have a problem with people. There was someone the other day was saying, how long is it okay to leave fish out of the water? Well, if you're asking the question, you just should know better, really. You shouldn't take them out of the water, ideally. So many people with their catch shot are in waders, and the only reason they take them out is to get a better picture. If you look at any of my pictures, most of the ones I take myself are rubbish, because I catch a fish, I put it back. I don't let them rest in the net or the sleeve. I don't believe any of that stuff. I just want to get them out, photograph them if I need to, weigh them occasionally, put them back. And you get a lot more respect from fishery owners if you do that. And there's always an argument with, you know, oh, we can't swim. Well, if you're going to do an activity that's water-based, then again, questionable. But at the same time, you know, if you're disabled, not able to bend down and lift a net and all this, that and the other, then you should be taking someone fishing with you. It's gone are the days when you can just go and fish a little pond and no one really owned the fish and that, you know. Now it's different. Things move on, and we work for a lot of angling clubs that are so stuck in the dark ages. They don't want to make any progress. They don't want to do anything. Well, I'm sorry, but along with all the other issues in the world, things are changing and you have to adapt. Or the simple answer is, instead of moaning about a specific set of rules or a specific set of circumstances, choose to go somewhere else. When people say to me, fishing's too expensive, I'm like, it isn't. The place you want to fish is too expensive. Well, I want to live here. But I can't afford it. I can barely afford to live where I do. I can come on a visit and respect the nature and the countryside and have a great time and not leave any litter to show my appreciation. So, you know, we're blighted as an industry by people whinging and moaning about everything all the time, thinking they have the rights to do whatever they want. There's no air up here. What a time to come. Crazy. But yeah, it's one of those things. I can understand all the media uproar, and they'll sell loads of them. They'll sell loads and loads of them. And if anyone wants to try them, I reckon by this time next year we'll have a bucket full of them, because we will find loads of them. And that's not necessarily any different than the amount of other stuff we find, to be honest. So same with plastic baits. I've used plastic baits as a tipper before. but you kind of want them to be able to come off. I just burn the floss a little bit when I'm putting them on a rig, rather than put a hair stop on, because they ain't coming off if you put a proper hair stop on. But yes, potentially you are causing issues with a live rig in a lake, so again, people ban them, fair enough. Just use a little topper boilie if you're allowed. Some clubs ban that. So it is down to the individual who manages and runs the water, and you're never going to change that, and you shouldn't either, because everywhere has different rules and regulations, and you have to, as an angler, respect that. If you want to go to a lake, but the rules you want to, when people say, oh, crafty, you know, bend a few rules, no, don't do that, because I tell you, the one day if you ever have your own lake, you'll just despise anglers like that, giving it the big and coming on, oh, I've done this, I've done that. You'll just despise them and go, right, okay, done away with that. Then you'll have a list of rules going, no, right, you can't do it, because you have to, because, you know, as much as we all like to think we can just, you know, live in a wonderful, easy world, the common lowest denominator of angler isn't that good at angling, let's be honest, and they'll try everything. I used to do a lot of tuition, and anglers used to come to me with, you know, up to, I don't know, most of probably since 15 half-empty packs of boilies. And I go, why have you got all these? Always ready, mate. So you go, why have you got all these? You go, oh, I tried them, they didn't work. It's like, well, they do. And I always used to do the same thing. I used to empty all of them in a bucket, mix them all up, and go, what's wrong with that? Oh, all about the flavour profiles, mixing them up. Seriously, come on. Really? It's like you've been caught by the... I love angling bait. I use a lot of bait. I love it. But I always mix them up. You know, I don't care. I mix them up. Mix and match, whatever. But it's that sort of angler that's going to buy the twig, and that sort of angler that's going to lose it, because they won't set up right for a start probably, or they'll just... Well, I know we're going to find loads of them. That's all I'm saying. I think it's good to try and, you know, be innovative, and because basically at the end of the day, for the last God knows how many years, people have been trying to look for ways to sell. What do? We put a lead out with a hook on it and the bit in between, and I'm a sucker for all the tiny little gadgets and gizmos, but I genuinely always think, is that going to potentially damage the fish? I don't like 360 rigs for one. I think they're ridiculous. But it's catch at all costs for a lot of anglers, and you know, if their job is to catch fish, they just want to catch fish, then they have to get the best picture. So they'll cart it up the track over their shoulder to get a carpy shot in the woods or whatever. Totally don't agree with that. But you know, that's just me. I just see in the winter when we catch the fish, see what happens when we find them, and when they're down in weight, or when something happens and you think, well, look at what's happening, look at what your anglers are doing. So most anglers are fine, you know, most anglers are sensible. But unfortunately, it's the ones that aren't that you hear about, because they're the ones losing the tackle, losing the rigs. Happens to everyone every now and then. But if you lose any tackle, the amount of times we've found bait boats, bite alarms, rods, reels, I'm talking everything, bed chairs, I've found everything in lakes. You say to them, did anyone tell you? No one told us. I think a lot of it, they're just ashamed. So, yeah, it's just, I know we're going to find plenty of them. I reckon within the first month of our netting season, we'll find a few. So, we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find a lake. But it's not bad. Not a bad morning's walk at all. Just a bit warm.